Welcome back
to episode 2 of ICSN Bridging the Gap. So the question for today is the vetting procedure in traditional marriage still valid in this day and age? What I'm going to do, I want to start with a representative from the youth team.
Can I go?
Of course.
So I think it is important to do the vetting because culture is culture, and I think that's excellent. And going to the person's place, find out about their family. But in today's day and age, the vetting is only vetting for Igbo people.
Okay.
There's a lot of Igbo people marrying outside of Igbo culture.
Mm-hmm.
So when they're marrying people from other nationalities, how are they vetting them? How does that equal up? We're so hard on our own people and making sure that we find out their lineage and their heritage and their family lineage or whatever and where they're from. But yet you'll allow your son to go and marry a girl from no one knows where, from all sorts of countries, from all types of families, but no one even answers any questions. And that's okay because they're not Igbo. But when you are marrying an Igbo person, we must do all these extensive checks. And if these checks don't come out how we want them to, then you can't marry that person. Meanwhile, you can go and marry a mass murderer's daughter for all we know. So I don't know if the vetting is relevant today, especially when there are so many racial and tribal relationships.
Okay.
I'll just say, if we're talking about on a basic level, then of course it's good to vet who you're going to. It's good to vet who you're going to spend the rest of your life with. It's good to have an idea of the type of family they're from, and this is regardless of culture, regardless of geography. It's just a good idea to vet. It's a good idea to meet someone who may be, a friend of a friend, someone, through connections, because there is a reference point. If I'm introduced, through a friend, if I'm introduced through a family member, at least I can go back to that friend or back to that family member and ask any questions which I may not feel comfortable at first to ask the other person, to ask the girl. So vetting is a good thing. Now, as to the intricacies of what each culture, let me talk about what people our people. As to the intricacies of what each village, each clan and the lists and all the rest of it, which I don't have very much knowledge of. I just call for reasonableness. I think vetting needs to be reasonable. I think if it gets to where a family or parents are trying to dictate to a child or to at least they're not a child, to their son or their daughter who they should marry, that's beyond the reasonable. That's an overreach. That's an overstep. But as for on a basic level vetting, let's check this person out. Let's check the family out. Cool.
Can I just say, in regards to this vetting as well, it actually helps because sometimes you just never know if you are related. I think that's the reason why a lot of people do this whole vetting thing, because you can find out down the line, boy meets girl, they've been dating for a few months, years, whatever the amount of period is, and they decide to get married. If you don't vet, you might find out the picture down the line that one nigga, my dad and his dad were cousins or whatever, and then it becomes, as they say, what's the word? Abomination. So that's kind of the reason why they do. Well, that's what I presume the reason. Sometimes it's political, sometimes but that's the reason why they do vetting, to make sure that there's no interlink, they're not related, because that's an abomination. At the same time, sometimes vetting, some parents might look at it, whether on a higher clan, to see whether you're in the same status as we are.
Yes.
But as I said, that's political. That's for their own selfish gains, because that shouldn't really affect your child in any way.
Princess?
All right. For me, I think it depends on what you regard as vetting.
Mm-hmm.
Now, like what he said about, knowing the family, actually, then in Igbo, that's our culture, it's good. Whether you're going outside Igbo land, it's different. They might not have that culture. But for us, the Igbos is our culture. And you made mention of, I don't know who said that, about when you're dating, then during marriage, you now want to vet. And then you realize that you're related. So I would think it's better even to vet before you go into a relationship.
Absolutely.
During courtship, you must have gone far. gone into intercourse, gone into all sorts, even become pregnant before you now realize it that, okay, let's go and seal it. Then what happens during vetting? You now realize that you are actually related. So it becomes a problem. And then they tell you that Omenala says Iga Kwala. That's what some of the cultures...
To appease the gods.
To appease the gods. You have to do all those sacrifices to appease the gods. Do you want to go into that? So I would suggest, most of us must have made our mistakes. Even not only that, medically, people go and check themselves to see if they are carriers.
Yes.
Right? So talking about vetting,
It's massive.
you are trying to avoid the issue of being related during, vetting, then start the vetting before courtship. Do you understand? Oh, I love this girl. I like her ways. I've seen her a couple of times. Or somebody has referred her to me, introduced her to me. Then I want to find out, make some findings before ever approaching the girl.
I beg to differ.
Sweetie, I know. No. I understand. I'm just relating to what you said about you've started the relationship already, dating. And during dating, we're not born again Christians when you say, okay. Seriously, other can take against mom say, mama say, you understand? Then you must have done all sorts, and then you realize you want to get married to this person, and then you want to go and find out if it will actually work. And then you realize you're related. But I
want to add something. So at what stage do you introduce your boo to your parents? At what stage?
When you define your relationship, you know it's very serious. And you know this is it. Because if not, that means every man you meet, you're going to treat your parents. And then you start calling you names like, you go, okay. I'll go, okay.
Can I say something?
Yes.
Please, when it comes to vetting, it will be good for our young ones to understand that originally, girls, or even when we say that parents, do not preserve certain things for their girls, is because originally the parents are the people who have a look with other areas and make arrangements for their girls to marry. And when they observe those things, they then tell the girl, this is the person who is coming for you. And how are you? But we have moved on. We have moved on from there. But the vetting procedure is like every other thing you are doing. Before you invest in this house, will you not investigate whether there is something underneath that will make it to collapse? It is very important to vet no matter whom you are going to give your daughter.
But Uncle Olama was saying that it tends to be mainly amongst the Igbos. But if you have someone that is marrying, my brother married a Caucasian person, she wasn't vetted.
No.
My cousin married a Yoruba, he wasn't vetted. So why is it only amongst the Igbos?
Someone will say, well, this person's great-great-grandfather was polygamous, so no, you can't go to a polygamous family. Meanwhile, you don't even know if these people's parents are even married.
Yeah, so that's why it should be amongst the whole thing, not just Igbos. It should be no matter who you marry.
We'll say no, you can't marry that person because they're from this state.
Yeah,
you can't marry Indian or so it's like all these Indian and Brahana Choigo. So it's like all these minor issues. You can't face a stereotype and say, okay, I can't mingle with you, or you say to your boo or whatever, you say, babe, I can't be with you because we don't rock like that.
Yeah.
We're not from the same state. And he may think, or she may think, so you're going to discriminate me because of the state I'm from. Bearing in mind that historically we were not founded Igbo land, but Ala Igbo was not founded on statehood. It was Murtala Muhammad that put that there
To divide us.
divide us. But back then, pre-colonial times, if we want to be real in Igbo land, back then you go by townships. You go by, okay, you're from Owerri, you're from Imbise, Mbano, Oka, Onitsha. So all these little places, and you would intermingle. You would still see us Igbo as Igbo.
As one.
As one. Igbo O2, we are one people. We shouldn't have this discussion or disagreement that this one is this, this one is that. It doesn't make any sense. And a lot of people...
You said always about introductions. It's good. I don't know why we've got rid of it in our Igbo community. Our parents should be looking. Our parents should be meeting other parents and finding people for us. That's what they should be doing. But they always leave the good things and then leave us with bad things. They bring us to the UK. They don't talk to us in Igbo. They tell us to go and meet our own men. And then when it comes to marriage, they want to, vet them to the point where the men will even leave.
Yeah.
Why don't our parents start to gather themselves and start to find us men and line them up?
Can I just answer briefly on that? I think the mistake that the Igbos have made in this country is not even, we are not bringing the youths together as much as they should.
Yes.
Because that one has made them not to know each other.
Yes.
It is not a one-sided thing, just like when you are in the village or when you are in the area that is just yours, negotiating with A and B. In this country, we have to respect the views of our children much more than we do back home. Because they themselves, they are coming up educated and so on. They understand. But if the youths are meeting and they liaise with each other, they will be able to introduce someone and the parent will have a look. As I said, you have to check. But the checking shouldn't be, this is this or that. No. There is to check that the parents, they are not thieves, they are not this, because we follow what you see in religion sometimes, or what you call sins in certain religions or in religions. The Igbo culture has followed from God's given, and they obey those things.
There's a lot of talk about being influenced, or you should look at someone's, parents and their history. But should someone, so me, should I be judged by the actions and behaviors and conduct of my parents if I am my own person? Should I be judged by what they may or may not have done, or where they have come from? If I standing in front of you, you can see me, you can see my nature, you can see where I've come from. It might not come from my parents.
That's very difficult.
Let's talk about it.
Is, we tend to use the word vetting. I would rather say we call it inquiry.
But the meaning of vetting means checking, so yeah.
In Ebola, we call it njo. Ijenjo.
That's questions.
Is a question we are going to ask and to find out. You see, it's about history. It's about lineage. It's about heritage, where everyone comes from. And because of urbanization, most of these things has been diluted. People meet themselves in cities, semi-cities and large cities. And before they realize who they are, they're already in a very deep, shallow bottom of the earth with what they are doing. The Indians are very deep in inquiries because they have a caste tradition.
We have it in Igbo land.
We do.
Before an Indian man or lady brings somebody to say, my husband, the parents will go and look which caste is that fellow coming from. Is it a lower caste? Is it a middle class? Is it before they agree on that marriage? So it has its influence in so many cultures. But for us, I would say it starts as far back as when we begin to differentiate between an Igbo, indigenous person, and an Usu in Igbo land. Because when in the olden days, when you go to bring a woman, they will ask where is the woman coming from. When you identify the village, they try to classify if that village is an Osu's village or a free man's village in Igbo land. Yeah, and this is how the whole thing started. And then they begin to look at other areas where blood lineage has connected everybody, because some of us don't know how our parents met themselves and whatever. So history comes to light and they begin to look at where their mother comes from. So you could go and marry from where your father's mother comes from or whatever, and the village does not. And there are some communities where you do not marry the next village.
Yes.
Yeah.
And there are some villages where you don't intermarry in the village.
Yes.
And there are some villages in Igbo land where you even intermarry.
Yeah.
But you don't marry from the same compound.
Yes.
Or ama.
Yes. Yeah.
You can marry from the next ama or ezi, but you can't marry from the
your
same
own
ama.
yes.
Because you can have different family names living in one ama.
Yeah.
Yes.
Or one ezi.
But they say one blood.
But
Yes,
it's one
same
blood.
great
But you
grandfather.
can marry from the next ama ezi because there's no blood connection, but it's the same village.
Yeah.
You understand? So it's different dimensions, and that's why the questions are asked.
And we're still not answering the
Is
question Mama
anybody-
asked. Because they say, you know, you're dating, again, like I say, you're dating a Yoruba person.
Yeah.
The Yoruba person might be half Igbo. So are you not going to vet because he's Yoruba, because his father is Yoruba, but he's half Igbo? That means that Igbo part might be related to you and you not knowing. So let's not define this to just be an Igbo thing, Ekwaka. It should be in general. If I decide to marry Oyibo, Kokwaka on the Oyibo house. There's no way you can.
It should need to be fair.
You should not misinterpret
Okay,
vetting.
what
Vetting
I
is
want
not relation only.
Okay.
It is much more.
Deeper.
Are they thieves?
Thank you. That's what we're
No, I'm telling you.
I was
Are
going
they,
to say-
are they thieves? Are they murderers? Those are the things. It
What's the
doesn't
history behind
matter
the
whether
family?
it is evil.
And
That comes down to the
It's,
question
if you're-
she asked earlier, like
If you're
putting
going
the
to
sons of
judge-
the parents on the children.
Yeah.
Okay,
You
now,
understand?
what I want to add to this is Akoria ịjụ ajụjụ, ịga kwa aka. Ọwụ ịkwa aka o. Because ịkwa aka means you agree.
It's different.
Man ịjụ ajụjụ, you don't even allow the family to know
No,
that
it's
you're
done in
asking.
secret.
It has to be either if there's a king in that village, you go to the king, there's a procedure
Yes,
to
yeah.
ịjụ ajụjụ, or you have a friend somewhere who is from that community,
Yes.
then you go. Now, what I want to add to what you said, should we put the blame or transfer the whatever
Yes.
to, yes. Now, he made mention of Osu in Igbo land. Some of us don't want to mention it. Some of us don't want to talk about it. But my dear, it's there.
It's real.
there.
It's
But
real.
they are not one.
They're not like us or anything. They're not
They're not
human
they're normal
beings. So
human
why we
beings,
judge a human
right?
being because
We are not
that means
judging them, but the thing is, the culture has made it to be there.
Yes.
We have to respect that culture. You, as a young person that wants to go into a relationship, take it upon yourself that, look, I want to go into a relationship and I want to live with this person for the rest of my life. I don't want to go halfway and something will come up and they say, oh no, you've made a mistake. And then you begin to look for solution, either to come out of the relationship where there's a child already involved. Now,
Anti-contest, just for everyone who's watching, can you clarify what an Osu is for those people?
Osu is something they say is an outcast. In those days, it's like slavery. You go and purchase something to come to represent the idol or something, you know. Now, in my place, or at my place, we have where the Osus live.
Yeah.
There's a marketplace. And then you know that, yes, the Osus are there. So if you're coming there,
So can we clarify? So those people were sold into slavery and became idols.
How I know you find this? So you belong to the gods. So it's like that's how I know in my village. You
So I
belong
would
to the
say-
gods. It will to the
a
gods.
normal person, like in my family now, there's this uncle. There was something that happened in those days, I don't know what, but he needed to get an Osu. Not even an Osu. He purchased somebody to be there for that idol, but he started dating the person, got the person pregnant, they had children. But that people, they are known as Osu, the woman and and the family, the children.
So they're slaves.
Yeah.
So that's same as in America when they say akata.
They call them outcasts.
Outcast.
So what's akata?
Akata is what you call
Akata
Americans.
is
You call Americans Akata. Olden time for Americans, like Yankee. It's just
Akata.
yeah.
But
when we are discussing with our youths, in fact, that Osu area, I think, with those of us who have educated ourselves
Yes.
in all the cultures,
Yes.
is something that is
Thank you, Uncle.
nonsense.
Thank you, Uncle.
Nonsense.
Thank you.
you understand?
Nonsense. Any family that is still harboring
Them,
in
thank
that type
you.
of
They
area,
are human beings.
they
But they still do it
They still
today.
do.
But they still
Any
discriminate.
family
Some-
that
but
is
some
in
even
that
still married,
area
still married
is
from
so backward.
Yes.
And
What we do in our
life,
life-
disassociate themselves with.
Always relate
The other
the
members.
Igbos with the Bible.
Thank you.
If you relate the Igbos with the Bible, you see the Igbos in clear picture. We are people who were, because they were very much in need, they were made to help the kings. And during the wars, they were people who were captured to an area. But all those, we can see it in what it was.
They're so
It's-
pretty.
There is nothing.
Rich.
Don't go and get
Okay.
any other thing to that.
Okay.
Sorry.
Going back to the vetting process, I want to bring it back to this. As the older generation, okay?
I'm not that old.
Okay. Representation, like, you know. So, and again, I think it's also to this side as well. If you are, you know, your boo or whoever you're interested in, do you yourself go through a vetting process if their parents aren't married? So let's say you meet someone, you like them, and you then find out that their parents were never married, you know, they might come over from a single home. Do you guys, as the younger generation, is that something that you vet in yourself and, you know, decide, is this, yeah, and then I'll come over to you guys to
To me, it's a straight no. It's a straight no. I'm of the young generation, and definitely what I try to judge is I judge on the person, you as an individual. What is it? There are certain things, you know, like we're saying about Osu that might come, which is cultural part of the whole thing. Even if it does come, you need to like find a way for solution. But trying to like judge an individual based on the fact that whether the parents were divorced or the parents were not in a relationship or the person was from a polygamous family or anything, I think it's absolutely wrong. It doesn't make, but there are a lot of people who do it. This person is from a polygamous family, or there is a chance that he can also be polygamous. He might end up.
He's got the traits. It's genetic.
Yeah, it's genetic, you know. So to me, definitely, like trying to judge that an individual, someone you want to spend the rest of your life on, that is so minor.
Yeah, you can marry people that, you know, their families are generational friends, neighbouring villages, you know, you call the mum, you know, you're very, very close, and you can marry them, and then, you know, the family just all of a sudden changes. It doesn't guarantee a longevity in your marriage, it doesn't guarantee that. So I think you'd rather just marry the individual and not focus on the parents' marital status or stance, because you can marry people with married parents who have been married for 40, 50 years, and you marry into that family and, you know, it's a mess. So
That's right. It's a mess. That's the,
Okay, so I want to come to this side. So, have you, as the old generation, known or heard of cases where people have infiltrated the vetting process, so they knew they were going to be vetted, and that they've tried to hide or cover up, or you know? So, what's happened?
I don't know about that, because I think it's always been done in secret, from what I understand. Inquiry is done in secret, so both families don't really know. So if that's the case, that is known.
My understanding of vetting, or if we call it that,
Inquiry.
is just that no matter who, even if you are to, you have the next person near you from the college or anywhere, you yourself will also try to find out how is this person behaving in this area, can the person, take things or do this?
I'm going to mean
so
the person, like the person. So let's say
the
the
person
woman
you
or the
are
man.
relating to.
Okay, but that should be not doing courtship now. Because
during the
says
courtship,
yes. Okay.
during the courtship, you are
Inquiring, yes,
before
true.
you get to someone.
But sometimes,
I
think I'm with you on this one. Yeah.
The parent will also have a look. Have you checked this? Have you checked that?
But sometimes when people are courting, people put on their best behavior. They know that they are being watched, so they, it's very easy for people to be, the person you want them to be.
Let me come to this. No, let me correct this. Let me correct this thing because we are mixing vetting with a lot of
exactly. Courtship is
we are mixing it with a lot of mixtures and
lots of ingredients.
What we see as vetting going to the reality in Igbo land as in job, which is a culture, it's not an open vetting.
Yeah,
it's the secret.
Where you start, where we sit down like this
and
be talking. No, job about
privately.
The person you want to marry. It's not directly about that person.
It's about the family.
Well, the
job is about to know where the family comes from. What is the value of that family? What is the cultural orientation of that family? What is the historic background of that family? And it is done by a third party on your behalf most times.
Your aunties.
You do not go because when they see you in that village, people that know you will know you are looking for to know something about that person. You as a girl will find a third party to go and look for. The man will send a third party to go and look for and be able to collect information about the family and then relate to you. This is what we have found. Then you now will use that information to analyze where you are going into.
No,
you understand? That is inquiry. When you go to courtship, you can be doing vetting and vetting all these things.
I understand what you're saying, but there is a situation where people from a particular community want to protect their own interests. I wouldn't want to portray my community as a bad community or anything. If someone comes to me, for instance, maybe I'm sitting in one small, maybe in a market shed in the village, sitting with my panwan, and somebody just came out like, I would like to know you. Maybe you say you want to ask about a family in this place. I would like to know you because everybody knows about that vetting. I'll begin to understand maybe they are coming to get married to someone. So if you ask me in that circumstance, I might try. I wouldn't want to. There is that.
Let me
tell those people in that light.
Excuse me, sorry. Let me clarify you there.
Yeah.
You're still young.
No, it doesn't mean that.
No, it's really, hold on.
Okay.
When you want to go for ajuju, don't go to anyhow person.
Auntie is true.
Sweetie, listen. You don't go to somebody in a beer parlor. In a joy ajuju. No, listen. And when I mentioned before that you go to either the king of the village. The king as the elders.
Yes.
The elders have responsibility if anything goes wrong. No.
There is a certain point you go with a relationship with that person, you wouldn't be so strict. If you, for instance, get to know the person to a reasonable extent. I understand.
Omenalibo is Omenalibo. Now, elders, those elders, they call them committee of elders.
Yes.
Hey.
It's true.
Okay.
Right? Now, to come to that particular thing, right? Where you say, job the family vetting, which is ajuju inquiry, is different from relationship, courtship, your character. You may hide your character, but there are things you cannot hide
About the family.
about the family.
This is something. You see this vetting thing, like back then in the village when they go to. One of the men, I'm not saying the only reason, one of the main reason is to find out if the family is Osu.
Not really.
The one of the main reasons. Yes, I'm saying one of the main ones.
Yes.
If my father kills someone, for instance, To be honest with you, it's more like the sin we are saying, visiting on the children, the sins of their fathers. Then
It's
because
even in
maybe
the
the father has
Bible.
committed an offense before. Yeah, I know, but because the father has maybe committed an offense before and maybe possibly served the punishment, doesn't mean you should put it on the child or on the daughter.
That's right.
One thing you have to have the background so that you can defend it, even if you accept.
Yeah.
One thing you have to understand is this: there are so many of our parents who have committed huge atrocities in their village.
Yes.
The village banished them. They go to their mother's village and go and stay all their life. So when you still ask them, they still call that village that they banished them from. Or they still say their village is their mother's village. And you will not realize that that is not their village. But because they have lived there for years, people have incorporated them into that community. When you go to do Ncho, they begin to trace your that father's history. They will now realize that that man has been committed atrocity in that village.
Sir, they do it here. They do
and he moved to his mother's village. So that village is you can't take a drink and go to that village because that is not his village.
Okay, so I have a question. So I think Chidi, I want to speak to you. Okay, so Chidi, how would you feel if, let's say, you find someone and you go to present them to your family, and your family have gone and they've done their investigations, they've asked their questions, and their family said, based on the information that's been gathered on this individual, it's a no from us. It's a no. My chest. So how would you feel, and you being the youth and being raised in the diaspora, would you take on their no? Or would you fight for love and wanting to be with that person?
I think it comes down to what the no is on the basis of, because although we are here in the West and we are quite liberated in comparison to many other places, the word of one's family, especially one's parents, those who had their hand in raising you, who know you basically, their opinions are very important. So I think I'd need more information before I say, okay, I accept, I take on board what they've said, and that will then affect my decision to end the relationship, or whether I'll hear what they say and say, okay, I hear you, but I still intend to continue. So it would strongly depend on why they object, as opposed to the fact that they just object.
So remember, they've said to us, a lot of the times it's based on the family history. So the no has come from based on the family traits and characteristics of the family. So although they might like, the person in front of them, the background of that person is not favourable to them based on the information that's coming through. So in that situation, knowing that they're telling you publicly it's a no from us, would you then continue with that relationship? Because I think that is currently what is being faced by a lot of people.
If I may help ask more a bit to give you.
You can't help.
Can I help you a bit to clear it? Because this is very deep, and it's a very deep issue, and it's got spiritual implications. You get me? And a lot of our young people look at modernity and they just overlook it. That's my parents' belief. The spirituality there is this, and it takes a spiritual mind to be able to deal with that and conquer it at the end. If you go to marry a girl, or a girl goes to marry a man, and your parents come up and say, look, we have found out that these parents, there is a curse in their household, that if they marry, anybody that marries in that house doesn't bear children. If they bear children late, or their children, they bear children, and the children dies at birth. This is the history. We have looked, and they give you key indicators. 1, 2, 3, 4. Go and cite them. They've been married 4 years, 5 years, 5 years, and then you insist. What do you? You're insisting on marrying that girl out of love. Is it based on the fact that you have a spiritual strength to war against that spiritual enemy? Because you are not warring against that family, you are warring against a spiritual enemy, a spiritual cause that is upon them that needs a break.
You can be
spiritual break.
You can be the way.
That's what I'm saying. You have to wait. What do you do? Are you going to wait and say I take it along as a body and go on?
With all due respect, you could be that person to
You might be.
Yeah, you could be a prayer warrior. You could be, those that attend a mountain of fire. given an example.
What would
You are bringing. You are bringing.
Yeah, what would you do?
I've only contributed this afternoon. Please continue.
Yes.
Go on.
I am being educated. I am being educated today. But it's as you've indicated, it's a very loaded question. It's a very deep one. If the no is based on medical grounds, i.e., there's this pattern, and maybe there's even a diagnosis, a medical condition, I would think very carefully before daring to continue. If that's medical. Other matters, other spiritual matters, one would have to.
It's a choice, though. The choice is yours to make. So if it goes right, that's it. If it goes wrong, it's still your choice. So you have to bear the consequences.
Of course. You fall on your own sword. I mean, with these things, I think one of the problems, and I was discussing this with a friend of mine who isn't Igbo, he's Nigerian, he's not Igbo. One of the problems with the whole vetting, making inquiries, is that we abrogate a lot of our responsibility to our parents, when in fact it's our choice, and we must either stand or fall on the decision we make to marry, and I think that goes to a deeper issue within our culture, in the sense that we give our parents too much.
Too much control.
But sometimes they could be right.
Absolutely.
And then,
but you
if you make that
to learn from your
That's
mistakes.
why-
yeah, you learn from your mistakes, but at the
That's
same
why I say-
time, your parents they are wise because they know, they've seen the world. I'm making a blanket statement. They've seen the world at the same
judgment that
time.
is made today should reflect today. We are referring too much to very long past. The way that we are tracing maybe genetic diseases in people is only that type of inquiry.
Yes.
But today we know it.
You can just go and do a blood test.
That things have moved on, and people have to recognize that. To be hammering on the past too much is not
Perfect. So, speaking of moving on, that brings us to a conclusion for episode number 2, and we look forward to seeing you all in episode number 3. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.